hard. That's what I think. Extremely proud of our guys, even for having to win the way we did. Obviously played really well for the first half, probably as good a first half as we've played all year in a lot of ways, both sides of the ball. And then, I thought our defense was still solid and our offense just kind of stagnated and we got kind of tight against their press late. But you don't apologize for winning in this league. And you don't give them back. You just go try to learn from the things you didn't do well and try to be better the next time out. They've got a heck of a team, and obviously got off to a really good start. And I think, it shows we're capable of competing on any night with anybody.
You ever had a player go 5 of 5 from 3?
To go back and look, I coached some really good shooters in my career, but I don't know if I've ever had anybody go perfect. I have to really go back and do some research on that.
With a young team and freshman point guard starting out and everything, how concerned were you about their press coming into the game, and why do you think you guys were so successful for the first half and breaking it?
I wasn't all that concerned. They don't press a ton. It's more kind of they use it, and in fact they have some success in it. They stay with it longer. We obviously did a good job attacking early, and they didn't get into it as much. And then in the second half, when we didn't handle as well. But again, that's the reason we prepared the way we have. We don't even talk about freshmen anymore. I mean, those guys have played a lot, and so we expect them when they go out on the court to be ready to compete and put us in a position to have success.
What was going through your mind where Isaac had to make those 2 free throws at the end, and then Ramey missed that 3-point basket?
Nothing. I literally didn't say not one single word to Ice during the timeout there. I was more talking about, what we were going to do defensively and making sure our matchups were correct and all those type of things. So, we weren't going to foul, and that not because I don't believe in that anymore because we're having a Charlotte. It's more because they're not a great 3-point shooting team. They are a great rebounding team. We struggle rebounding, so now you make it a rebounding game if you foul and put them on the line. So the thought process was you take your chances, and they only have one really good shooter on the court at the time, and Jace Febres, and then the other guys, you play the percentages in that case in my mind.
What was it like for you to see the guys' reactions after the game finally getting their first Big 12 win this season?
Man, I was overjoyed for them, and I told them in the locker room I'm as proud of them as I am any team that I've been around. I set this team up for failure in a lot of ways. First by putting together a really young team and then scheduling a schedule that's made for a pretty veteran team. I mean, this is a schedule you put together when you feel like you can make a run to a Final Four. But I'm pretty ambitious as a person, and I'm really excited to see these kids have some success. I think that played into it a little bit, the end. We haven't had a ton lately, and so they were maybe starting to have some doubts on whether they could finish it. But, Ice made 2 huge plays, the layup and then the free throws. Thought Mo Kalou was sensational. Again, the numbers don't show, but he's got to understand that effort, that energy, rebounding and defensively are things that will continue to allow him to be an integral part of our team moving forward.
You mentioned the schedule. Lindy said that you set the guys up for failure with the schedule. What does that say to you? Is that just kind of it was so difficult you really wanted to throw them in the fire? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we scheduled really aggressively. I mean, I don't know where it's ranked now, but I would imagine it's going to be somewhere in the top 10 to 15 in the country the rest of the year. It's not going to get our strength of schedule is not going down, that's for sure. Not playing the games we're going to play for the next, 2 months. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't want them to fail, but I'm going to put them in a position where things weren't going to be easy. And, wanted to see how they respond. We didn't handle it as well as we could have, or I hope we would in November and December. But like I talked about all along, the key is trying to be playing better this time of year and moving forward. And I think we are. I think we have gotten better. I think you can see improvement in individual guys and collectively as a group.
The conversation Saturday was about fouls and defensive rebounding, and you hold them to 7 offensive rebounds, and they only shot 3 free throws in the first half. Is that a sign that this team is progressing, the fact that in just those 2 areas they made a jump?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the only thing we really talked about in practice the last 2 days. We obviously were concerned about their ability to get out of transition, and they set a ton of ball screens. But their size can overwhelm you on the glass. And so we had to do a great job of trying to limit them to one shot at a time. Lindy Waters shows up with 9 rebounds, 8 defensive. Isaac Likely's 5 defensive rebounds. So you're getting buy-in from those guys because it was a big game for our guards to get in there and help us.
The last 2 games here, Ice has taken a ding of some kind. For him to fight through that and come back out here, just what does that say about him?
I mean, it's what I expect. I was disappointed he laid on the ground as long as he did. You know, I told him I hope he was really injured. But you know, sometimes you get knocked down and you gotta respond, and he responded the right way. He continued to stay aggressive. He stayed locked in because I wasn't sure. You know, you go back with the training, you kind of at his mercy, and what he tells you, I don't have any knowledge on what's going on. So, but to see him bounce back and come in and be ready for that moment was pretty impressive.
Lindy only took 1 shot the second half, and obviously it was a huge one for you guys. Did they change the way they defended him the last 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think they got more conscious of trying to take him out, knowing that he was a guy who got going pretty good early, and we need him. We need him to get going. And he's a guy that teams will start probably keying on even more. And we have to continue to find ways to get him shots because he's a guy who can make baskets in a lot of different ways. You know, Thomas Iowa doesn't necessarily create offense. Lindy can drive it a little bit better. And then Weathers and Likely, neither one shooting great from 3. He's the one guy who can kind of do a little bit of both. So we've got to continue to evolve and look at ways to get him more opportunities for shots.
What are the guys doing well defensively right now? Because your first 3 conference games, you've held all 3 of your opponents below their season averages and shooting percentages. And what are you guys doing well defensively?
Well, defense is about, first and foremost, unbelievable effort and care. And we've got a high care factor within our group right now. And we also, we know who we are by knowing who we're not. We're not going to beat somebody 98, 95. And that's okay. It's okay to win 61-58. It counts the same. But to do that, you got to have some real commitment on the defensive end. And you got to have multiple guys that are willing to cover for each other because you're going to make mistakes. Multiple guys committed to executing your schemes, whether it's in ball screens or post defense. And everybody on board that end of the court is by far the most important thing we do. There are going to be some days, like the other day, we don't shoot it well. There's nights like today where we shoot it pretty well in the first half and don't shoot it well in the second half. Your defense can be a constant at all times.
Coach, you mentioned Mokalu. He played 18 minutes a day. He's kind of put together the past couple of games. What do you like about his growth recently?
I mean, just he's got a different look. I've said this since we came back from Christmas. You know, he's got kind of a slightly more mature, I'll say it that way, approach. You know, early on, and it's natural. Yeah. In their minds, this is going to be easy. No matter how many times I try to tell them that it's going to be hard. In their minds, until they get out there and struggle, they don't believe you. And you know, he struggled. The most impressive thing in my mind when I look at these stats is he's not settling for a bunch of jump shots anymore. He still took a couple the other day, but he's trying to drop the basketball. He's trying to sacrifice himself and go rebound. So he's starting to understand that there's more ways to be valuable to your team than just shooting basketballs. You can be a good defender, you can be a good rebounder, you can drive the ball and create offense for other people. And as he continues to do that, we'll have another offensive weapon because he can score.
Mike Cunningham no longer with the team. How does that kind of change things around here for you?
Well, I guess I misspoke earlier when I said the experience number wouldn't change. Somehow it's gone the other way now. We've got even less experience now. You know, it's an unfortunate situation, but like I've said before, I'm here doing this thing for the long haul. And, you know, I wish the kid well. There's obviously a disconnect on what we believe is important and the way he thought he could have success here. And we need everybody on board doing the same things. I don't get to do what I want all the time. I've got somebody to answer to it. If I don't over a long period of time, I won't be here either. And I think everybody in this room lives by some sort of standards. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but I'll tell you what, I looked in that locker room and I saw a team that wasn't affected by it at all. And that tells you something that those guys really care about each other and know that, you know, if we're all locked in together, we can still accomplish a lot.
Was it a mutual choice between you and him? Was it his decision to leave?
We had a conversation, and you know, he expressed, you know, his thoughts, and we both decided that it's probably better just move on.
You mentioned the kind of the team unity after the game. How did it make you feel knowing that they put together that first half after losing a teammate today?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable how resilient kids are, right? We sometimes maybe underestimate that. Kids don't maybe think about things the same way we do, and I'm sure in some parts of our fan base maybe like, oh gosh, the world literally is falling down. But I've seen our guys really respond in some critical, tough moments, and then today was another example.
2 years ago, it was a young team that started 0-6, and then once you sort of got one, team almost started to seem like they believed how to win down the stretch of games. Do you feel like that's something that can happen with a team, final 5 minutes of games, once they learn how to start winning close games? Or
Maybe. I assume nothing with this group, though. I'll tell you this, I'm going to enjoy this win. They're hard to come by. And, Coach Fraschilla came by practice a couple months ago and said, the whole key to coaching is just you're trying to get a one-game winning streak every game. And so Saturday, we're not trying to get a 2-game winning streak. We're trying to put another one-game winning streak together. And then we got 2 one-game winning streaks. And then you put that one behind you and just focus on the next thing and simplifying it, especially for this team who, again, they've been through a lot, but there's still a lot in front of us. There's a lot of basketball to be played against a lot of really good teams. I think the rest of the league understands that we're not going to roll over and lay down. We're going to compete as hard as anybody else. And when we go on the road, we're going to do the same thing.